2 Raidraptors made top 8 at the regional. I need to see this. I got the card database open because I know none of these things. New support is crazy. I have heard, so I'm going into this with a little bit of knowledge, not with the actual cards, but I have some context for you guys. I have seen the Raidraptor deck being discussed on different occasions. Like, people are actually talking about this, you know? People are actually looking into these sort of combos. There's a couple of people that think the deck has quite a bit of potential. Now, whether I'm a believer or not, I can't actually say yet. I mean, we've probably read those cards at some point when they were first announced, but I forgot what they did. So
hey guys, so we're here with a special guest today, KP, who just finished 3rd place at the remote regionals with Raidraptors. So huge congrats to you. What are your thoughts on this deck for this new format?
I really like the deck. I did pretty well during Goki format, and I kind of treat this deck as like another Goki. One big advantage of this.
okay, that's not a good start. That's not a good intro. You shouldn't have said that. No, I am significantly less interested, and I'm hoping your deck sucks, but okay.
Deck is just that people have a hard time understanding like how to interrupt the deck. It's been around for a while, the cards have been, but the new cards just makes it really good, and it's kind of unexpected. But if you go first, you definitely win. But I also play 15 hand traps, so if I stop my opponent, I still have a chance of winning. I haven't really bricked in a long time. Like, you can brick, it is possible, but for the most part it's very consistent. You just want to get 2 birds on the board and then just full combo.
Awesome. Well, let's...
Dude, that might be one of my least favorite sentences. Like, behind normal summon loci, normal summon use circular effect, like get 2 birds onto the board is like, it's probably number 3.
Get right into the list then.
Okay, so for hand traps, 3 Veiler, 3 Droll, 3 Ash, and 3 Nib. And I might as well just go ahead and show it now. 3 Imperm.
These 15 are the pivotal point of the format. Unironically, it's a hard task, but if you can find a deck that beats most of those, that might be key to this current format, because I think everyone is going to do this to counter Snake Eye. And ironically, Snake Eye might not be the best deck out of the decks that we have available to beat hand traps. It's just like, it overall is the best deck, but I wouldn't say Snake Eye is the best deck out there into impermanence, right? For example.
In this format, board breakers
branded baby. I understand your confusion, because when you said that, when you made that comment, the imperm kind of blocked out the Ash Blossom, right? You made that comment here, right? But I think now that he moved the card down, I think you realize how that was a certified brandy chatting moment, right? It's actually there. The imperm was on top of it. So yeah,
you can break the whole board of the Fire King Snake Eye, but as long as they have a loaded grave, like, they're still going to be able to interrupt you maybe 2-3 times past that. And they play a lot of hand traps, so even when you break the board, it only takes them one card to full combo. So they still have Ash, Nib, Veiler, Imperm, or whatever. So board breakers just aren't good enough. You don't want to let them combo, so these are most important for that deck. And then obviously more rogue strategies or other decks that aren't that good will lose to these as well. So it's just good coverage for the meta, mainly Snake Eye. For the Raidraptors, 1 Painlanius, 1 Heal Eagle. You search them in the combo.
Dude, there's so many of them, man. No, I don't want to. I don't want to read the Raidraptor cards, man. 43 results. Oh my god, dude. If all monsters you control are Raidraptors, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can banish this card from your grave, target a Raidraptor spell trap in your grave, add it to your hand. Okay, so this is purely an extender / recovery tool, so it makes sense. It's a one-off. What's the other one? Painlanius. That's how I'm feeling. Cannot be used as Xyz material except for a winged beast. If this card's in your hand, target a Raidraptor you control that has a level, take damage equal to its attack or defense. And if you do special summon this card, if you do that, this card's level becomes... Okay, that's also an extender. That's basically, it's gonna copy the level of your Raidraptor. Okay.
So you don't really need to play more than that. For 2 ofs, 2 Mimicry, and 1...
Level 4 Winged Beast. Once per turn during your main phase, if this card was normal or special this turn, you can increase the level of all Raidraptors by 1. During your main phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can banish this card, add a Raidraptor card from your deck to your hand, except Mimicry Lanius. That seems like a pretty good card. I'm surprised that's only a 2-of, but I suppose it might not be a 1-card starter. It's just because if you normal summon this, you might not be able to get it to the graveyard, but maybe you can access it from the deck anyways for free or something like that. And then the other one, this one, Noir Lanius. During your main phase, if this card was normal or special this turn, target a Raidraptor you control, add a Raidraptor with a different level, then that monster from your deck to your hand, banish this card from your grave, increase the level by 1. Okay. None of these are 1-card starters so far, but I suppose that's why we play these in like 1 or 2-ofs.
Changes to Noir. I'll get into more later, but Grov only plays 1 of this, but I just think it's safe to just play 2. The new change for the deck, 3 Raiders Wing.
Raiders Wing. Wait, that's not even a Raidraptor card. Oh my god. It is? Well, okay, dude. You guys are nerdging so hard right now. This card's always treated as a Raidraptor card. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can detach 1 material from your Dark Xyz monster. Special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Only uses effect once per turn. An Xyz monster whose original attribute is dark and has this card as material gains this effect cannot target this card with card effects. Okay, another extender.
So I took out 1 Noir and fit in 2 extra spots. My deck list is 44. So 42 if you don't play these extra 2. It's okay in this deck to play over 40 just because you have a lot of search cards and things you don't really want to draw. So it kind of helps you brick less often. But it's still consistent enough to draw maybe 2 hand traps and 2 cards to play with. But this card, what it does is while it's under an XZ material, it's an XZ material, the card cannot be targeted that it's attached to. So you can basically do your whole combo without getting impermed or veilered, so it's just really strong. And also has another effect that you can detach from an XZ to specialist from your hand or grave, so it's like a pretty good extender as well. Effectively, if you just start with Raiders Knight, it basically plays around 3 hand traps because it stops veiler and imperm, but it also plays around.
So is the plan like you draw this and any like generic extender, you make an untargetable first play, right, to stop imperm veiler? Is that like the idea behind it? Okay.
Nibiru. So you basically beat 3 hand traps off with just this 1 card. 3 Bloom is just a good extender.
That's the new one, right? Oh no, I misclicked. There it is. Bloom Vulture. That is the new card from Phantom Nightmare, yes. If you do not control any face-up monsters other than Winged Beast, special summon both this card and a Raidraptor from your hand. If you control no monsters, you can target 2 level 4 or lower Raidraptors in your grave, including this card. Special summon in defense position. You can only use 1 effect per turn, only once that turn. Also, you're locked into darks. Okay, this is the second piece that you can draw with any other Raidraptor to just get going, and then it also gives you follow-up in case your board gets completely wiped, I suppose.
Or if you're starting, you can use it from your hand to summon it and another one from your hand. 3 Fuzzy. So
do you ever get to use the graveyard effect on the first turn?
Great follow-up if your board gets broken, because it can summon it and another one from your grave. Or if you're starting, you can use it from your hand to summon it and another one from your hand. 3 Fuzzy.
Fuzzy Lanius. If you control a Raidraptor monster other than Fuzzy Lanius, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, add a Fuzzy Lanius from deck to hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate either of this card's effect except Raidraptor monsters. Is this your best normal summon? It's an extender. Okay.
Since this is pure Raidraptor, you get to abuse Fuzzy. It's just really strong because you get to add another copy and special for free, but you're locked into Raidraptor, so that's why you got to play it only in pure. 3 Strangle.
Dude, who made all these? Strangleanius. If you control the dark monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, can we start with the normal summon first? Everything's an extender. If you control the dark monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except darks. If you control an Xyz monster with a dark Xyz monster as material, you can target a level 4 or lower Raidraptor in your grave, special summon it, but its effects are negated.
It's a great extender. And then 3 Tribute Lanius. It's
Dude, how many of them things? During your main phase, if this card was normal or special summoned this turn, there we go, a starter card. You can send a Raidraptor card from your deck to the graveyard. During your main phase 2, blah, I'm not reading a main phase 2 effect. This deck does not have a main phase 2. During your main phase, so it's just Foolishes, right? This Foolishes, which can give you a couple different lines, right? Like we already saw some with different graveyard effects, so.
The best starter that you can have. Sometimes people even hand trap it, which if you have an extender already, it hurts them to hand trap you this early. But if this is your only play and you normal summon it and they ash it or something, it could stop your whole combo. And then some more is also really
I don't need to read that one, right? It's like when you normal summon a winged beast, you can also normal summon this.
good extender. A couple cool things about this card is since it's a normal summon, it doesn't trigger Princess in their grave, and is also high enough attack to attack over an SP. So that kind of can come up. And then the last few cards, one Foolish Burial.
Wait, so is any of them a one card combo? Is it just the normal summon like the Armageddon Knight? Everything else is just extenders, no? Okay.
This is an extender or a starter, one card full combo. So that's why you got to play that. One Roost, and then the rank ups.
Oh no, the rank ups, dude. We're playing the rank ups. You have to be kidding me. Roost. If a Raidraptor monster is special summoned from the extra deck to your field, you can add a Raidraptor spell and trap from your deck to your hand. You can target 3, place them, draw a card. Okay, this also is more extension. I'm assuming you can search this for free at some point. Skip Force. Target a Raidraptor Xyz monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck a Raidraptor monster that has 2 ranks higher than that target by using it as material. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the grave, banish this card and a Raidraptor from your grave. Target a Raidraptor Xyz in the grave. Special summon it. Okay, so on the first turn it just ranks up into 2 higher. Okay, noted. And then the other one is the Raidraptor Force, right? Yeah, it's just a Raidraptor Force, which is also in Phantom Nightmare. During the main phase or your opponent's battle phase, target 2 or more Raidraptor Xyz you control and or in your grave, including a monster on the field. If at least 2 remain face up at resolution, special a Raidraptor from your extra deck with a rank equal to their combined ranks, and if you do, attach the targeted monsters to it as material. Okay.
Not playing the Kali Yuga build. And then the one trap.
What does that mean, the one trap? Glorious Bright. If you control a Raidraptor monster, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, or if you control a Raidraptor Xyz, you can target a card, negate that card's effects until the end of this turn. Oh, okay, so it's either an imperm or you can use it on spells too, or like evenly banish this card from your grave. Okay, some follow-up too. Okay.
The reason why we don't play Kali Yuga is because there's so many hand traps in this format. You can't play through hand traps as well as this build because you have to cut down. Like, you don't have fuzzy since you're going into other plays. You can play a fuzzy build, but it still like will lose to any hand trap. But a lot of the Kali Yuga builds will play the Phantom Knight cards and other bricks, and then it also loses to hand traps. So
is there any non-engine in this deck? There was non-engine. It was like 15 hand traps, so it's not too bad on that end. My initial concern would be that there was only one true like 1 card starter, which if like normally it's not too bad if you play a deck that only has 1 card starters, like only has one card starter. Like for example, you look at like Unchained that only had Tour Guide, or you look at, I don't know, Runic decks, they don't have a single 1 card starter per se, right? But in such a heavy combo deck, I would think you would want more than just one card starter. Everything else is 2 card combos unless I'm missing something. You can play any extender as a bad starter and go from there because everything is an extender. That is true. The way I'm looking at this deck is it probably has the ability to play almost every single time. Like almost every hand in theory is gonna be playable. My issue is that when your deck mostly focuses around 2 card combos, that usually is rather, how do you say, is rather vulnerable to disruption. Whether you're going first or second is another question. I don't know how good hand traps are against this deck, right? Like, but for example, if you start a 2 card combo and that 2 card combo gets stopped by Ash Blossom, then you're not trading favorably, right? I don't know how weak the combos are to certain hand traps, so that's something I would need to find out.
So that's why. For the extra deck, 3 Force Tricks.
This is just detach 1, search 1, level 4 winged beast or something like that, right? It's just detach 1, search 1, right? Relatively simple.
To play lowest rarity, so I'm happy I picked up the new OTS commons. Same with the other cards in my deck. 2 Raiders Knight.
Raiders Knight ranks up into a rank 5 dark, right?
One is to start. If you get hand trapped to the point that you basically can't combo, let's say they hand trap you 2 or 3 times and you just end on this, but you also have hand traps. So what you can do is you need the second copy. So if you end up nibbing or your board gets cleared and you hand trap them, but it goes back to you in simple game.
You only lose to Imperm. You can play through Droll, Nib, and Ash. Okay. But how bad would you say is Imperm? Like, Imperm against Raidraptor, is it closer to how Ash is against Branded or how Ash is against Snake Eyes? Pretty much Branded? Okay.
You just make the second copy to build a combo. One change I made is I'm playing 1 Baguska. It's very difficult to make in this deck because you can get locked with Darks or Raidraptors. Mainly like a combo with some more can get to it. The main reason I was playing this card is if you get shifted, you can't really do your combo. So if I was able to have a way to make a Baguska
and
against
why
the shifter deck,
hold up, another thing, is there a big difference between Valor and Imperm? No difference. Okay.
like Kashtira or Flu, I was hoping that maybe it would build a stall me a turn, but it never came up.
I hope you realize how that is not a great position to be in right now. Let's say it like that in the current format, right? It's good that you are able to play through Droll or Nibiru, right? If the deck has lines for those cards, that's a plus. That's good. But being weak to Imperm or Valor at the moment, I mean, those cards are very popular right now. There's probably formats, like, let's go into an imaginary hypothetical world where this deck is super good unless your opponent has Imperm or Valor. Like, there is probably a format where you could whip that deck out and be like, yeah, I'm observing the trend that no one is playing Imperm or Valor at the moment, or maybe they are Valoring or Imperming the wrong thing against this deck, right? Then you could find a spot where the deck would work. But I have a hard time believing that time would be right now. You can play through Imperm, but you risk losing to Nib. Okay, what you're saying is there's an alternative line that you can take if you think they have Imperm, but then if they have Nib, you get punished for doing that. Okay.
1 Brave.
Okay, this one I need to read. Brave Strix, I got no idea. 2 level 5s. A Raidraptor that has this card as material gains this effect. This card gains attack. You can only use one of the following effects per turn, 1 set turn. Detach 1 material. Set a Raidraptor spell trap from your deck. If this card has a Winged Beast as material, you can detach, add a rank up magic spell from deck to hand. Is this the one you rank up to with Raiders Knight? Yes. Oh, is the entire plan that you go for this? You search a rank up spell and then you go into the rank 7 Raidraptor that summons one from the deck? Is that the line? Yeah. Okay, I get it. Okay. So like you are going rank 5, that searches a rank up spell, and then you rank up into the Arsenal Falcon. So wouldn't one way to play through Imperm, theoretically, let's say you're Imperming, would you Imperm the rank 5 or the rank 4 then? Because in my head, if you Imperm the rank 5, if they hard draw the rank up thing, because they play 2, right? They might still go for the same play. Even if they already have one in hand, then they go for this. You Imperm it. If they already have the spell, they just keep playing. However, if you Imperm the Raiders Knight, they theoretically can still use this effect if they manage to get to it later on. The rank 4 is better because it's... Okay. Yeah, I see. All right. Noted. And then you have the Arsenal Falcon. I know that one from Kashtira times. It summons like what, level 4 Winged Beast out of your deck or something like that. Level 4 lower Winged Beast. I don't know. Summons one from the deck. And then Arc Rebellion is just an alternative line, I think, for going second or something like that.
And then the Arc Rebellion is good because in simple game states, you can gain attack equal to all the original attacks on the field.
I'm pretty sure the Arc Rebellion is not something that comes up in the standard combo lines, right? That's something you would do going second or something like that.
And attack over a monster for game. I had a couple situations where I wanted to make it, but my opponent was able to stop it. A cool thing is this can't be destroyed by card effects. And then if you have Raider's Wing under it, it can't be targeted. So it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And you can basically negate everything on the board, gain attack, and just attack for game. So it's pretty good. It just didn't come up for me today. You have not read all of Arsenal Falcon? I mean, yeah, I'm assuming it might have a hidden effect in Raidraptors because it's only been used in Kashtira, at least where I've seen it. Special summon level 4 Winged Beast from the deck. If this card has
any number of Raidraptor monsters as material, it can attack up to that many times. If this card is sent to the grave while it has a Raidraptor as material, you can special a Raidraptor exceed. Yeah, okay. Yep.
Some other cards, the bigger ones. We got the 2 towers.
Dude, who are these? Well, I know this one. I don't know this and this. Oh, this is the Phantom Nightmare one, the rank 13, right? Rising Rebellion. Yeah, that's the rank 13. Unaffected by other cards' effects. If this card exceeds summoned, you can destroy as many cards your opponent controls as possible. Then, if this card has 3 or more Raidraptor exceeds with different names as material, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the combined original attack of the destroyed monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 3 materials from this card. Target a Raidraptor exceeds monster from your grave. This card gains that monster's effects until the end phase. Okay, so it's unaffected, and one of the rank ups was a quick play, I believe. So you can just summon it on your opponent's turn as well, I assume, and just blow up the entire board. Okay. Oh, what's the other one? Oh, this guy. Satellite Cannon Falcon. 2 level 8 winged beast. If this card is exceed summoned by using a Raidraptor you control as material, destroy all spell and traps your opponents control. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effect response. Quick effect, detached, and target. Oh, the Raidraptor rank up force can go like, you can target 1 rank 4 on your in the grave, 1 rank 4 on the field, and then you make a rank 8 with those, right? That's how it works. You can never use the Duster effect. It's just needed for some lines that use the last effect. Oh, I see. They are not used as the exceed material. The thing is summoned and then they are attached to it. It's not the same thing. I see what you mean. Yeah, okay.
Called by the grave or Bestial, you're brave. You still want to have something to summon off the rank up.
Yeah, okay. So the way this works is you want to target stuff that equals 13 to summon this guy. But if your opponent messes with it and you can only get to 8, you still want to have something to get off of it. Okay.
You can use 2 4s to make this. There's also other combos where if it's an awkward hand playing through hand traps, you can make this. And then if you have a Brave engrave, you can use the Brave in this to make the Arc Rebellion because it adds up to 15. Sorry, it adds up to 13 because of the 5 of the Brave Strix, and this is an 8. So that takes care of that. This is part of the combos. It's really good if you can get to this going second. Breaking through boards is
so what's the end board? Do we end on the trap card that can negate anything like a towers and then a way to summon this on the opponent's turn to destroy everything and be a towers? Is that the situation roughly? 2 towers, trap, rank up. Oh, they end on 2 towers even. Okay. So what, do you make one of the rank 13s on the first turn? I'm assuming that's why we play 2. So is it like, let's say standard uninterrupted, we have 1 13, 1 falcon. Well, I guess they're all falcons, but this guy, you have the rank up trap and you have the trap. Okay. Rank up spell and the trap. Okay.
They can't activate cards for the rest of the turn, but also when you're going first, you make this and turn
so off. You use a fusion spell to synchro summon and exceed? Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Off card effects. It's really good at baiting nib because once you activate this, they have to nib there. This is a towers that stays on the board. And then 2 of these, a lot of times you play both in every duel. I make 1 going first, and then I also make 1 on their turn. So you basically end on 3 towers in your combo, and it's pretty tough for most decks to deal with. Another thing is Brave makes it 5300 attack. So
pretty tough to deal with. In theory, how do you deal with it? Let's say you're playing Snake Eyes, right? And your opponent resolves the combo. Let's say you can bait out the Omni Negate. Let's say you can bait out the rank up and you can still play after. Raging Phoenix attack over. Kurikara. Oh, Kurikara works. Axis Code Talker is big. I mean, Kurikara, you contribute the 1 that they summon on your turn. The Garunix that popped Kirin can swing over Ultimate Falcon. Right, Ultimate Falcon is 35, right? Ultimate Falcon is weak AF. Let's say the conventional Snake Eye deck doesn't seem like it would have ways to win anymore because like Axis Code isn't even standard. They don't play Underworld Goddess. Kurikara is also not standard. Some people play it, but it's not standard by any means. It seems rough. But to be clear, the end board being auto win has never made a deck the best deck on its own. There needs to be other factors like playing through interruptions, the boards you can make when you get interrupted, the stuff you can do going second. Those are way more important factors, but just as a baseline understanding of what it's trying to achieve.
And then 2 White Strix. I was
Okay, this one I've seen. I might even own them somewhere, but I don't know what it does anymore. If this card is Link Summon, special summon a level 4 Dark Winged Beast from your deck in defense, but negate its effects. Also, it can't be used as Link material. If your Raidraptor Exceed effect is activated, set a rank up magic directly from there. Oh, is this how you get both rank ups? Like you search one with Vice Strix and one with the rank 5? Is this why there's two? Okay. I'll say one thing. Right off the bat, what I like about this is that it seems relatively straightforward. Of all the cards we're playing, they don't have like a billion different effects. Most cards here have like one or two different effects, and they're relatively straightforward on why you want to use them, right? It's not the type of deck where every single card in the deck has like 5 different applications. It doesn't mean that I like the deck overall. I just want to make that clear. The win condition sounds kind of cringe to me, and especially also, this is not even a good thing only because if you play against it, it's a little bit easier to understand when everything has only 1 or 2 effects and not like a billion. I'm not saying it's a simple deck to play because you probably still have to practice lines like crazy, but it's at least from the outside, the cards aren't too convoluted. I like that.
playing 3 last week, but we just cut 1 for the Baguska. Garav was playing
Unban Mathmech
I just didn't have
Circular.
access
Burning
to it,
Abyss
so
best
really
deck.
I was still in the Discord call. I done goofed. I didn't hang up. Dude, I got scared, dude. Why would you do that to me? God damn, Nadir. I will say though, just before we finish watching it, in terms of the main and the side deck, it looked pretty good. Like I would imagine if you can make Raidraptors work, it would look something like this. We play all the combo starters and extenders that are good at 3, some engine requirements at 1. We've got room for 15 hand traps, and we call it a day. And that's the thing you need to realize when you're playing a deck like this. You're basically just doing what Pack was talking about in the podcast earlier. You're just comparing hands with everybody. Your advantage is that people don't know what you are playing, so sometimes they will use their interruptions incorrectly. Your disadvantage is their deck is probably a little bit stronger than yours. So in some ways, if you think about it from that perspective, the Snake Eye format is somewhat open and lets you play whatever you want in that sense. The Snake Eye deck is the best deck in this sort of hand trap minigame, but technically the other end of the stick is like everything can beat the Snake Eye deck in this sort of hand trap comparison. Your odds are worse. Still, there's no deck that cannot beat the Snake Eye deck by just using Imperm Veiler and then having your own combo through it, right? 90% of hand traps are useless against this, so we already established, even the people that play Raidraptors said that Imperm and Veiler are pretty good against it. If someone plays 12 to 15 hand traps and Veiler and Imperm are really good against this deck, then that's more like 50% of hand traps are really good against it. So you are very much chatting in the chat box right now. Genuine question. Why is Nibiru bad against this? What's the plan if we get nibbed? Because Arsenal Falcon's second effect? So this one floats. So we make this before we can get nibbed. If we get nibbed now, we can still tag out into the extra deck. And then we make... which one? Oh, the towers has another effect. Unaffected by other card effects, you can detach a material from this card. For the rest of this turn, all monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. Okay. Your 5th summon is Arsenal Falcon. You make 4 Strix, not before 5, but early. Okay. So you can essentially force your opponent to Nibiru you early, and then you still have the tag. Okay. But is that a matter of, does Nibiru at least prevent something off of the board or not? Nibiru forces an extender usually. So it does something, but it's not like guaranteed because they can easily just have an extender and push through it. Okay. How do you block efficiently a Fire King deck with hand traps though? It seems they can always bounce back. Well, it's just not true that they can always bounce back. The thing is, and the reason why it feels so bad is because it's essentially just a gamble. It's a mini game. Your Snake Eye deck opens 5 cards and then they see how many ways they have to play, right? Maybe they have 1 normal summon Snake Eye Ash and the rest is non-engine. If you imperm that Snake Eye Ash, they pass. If you imperm that Snake Eye Ash and they have a Diabell Star, right? 1 extender, then you need a second hand trap and so on and so forth. It's just levels, right? If you have the same amount of hand traps as they have starters / extenders, then they pass turn. That is also one big difference between something like a Snake Eye Ash 1-card combo and a Mathmech Circular 1-card combo, because Circular was like sent for cost and all that. Most 1 hand traps didn't even trade well against Mathmech, but they do trade well into Snake Eye. Like literally all you have to do against against Snake Eye is draw the same amount of hand traps, then they draw starters, and then they're probably going to pass turn, unless they play some super unconventional starter cards or unconventional ways to play through hand traps.
And then 3 evenly.
This is also something I do not like. I dislike siding evenly when it's 15 hand traps in the main deck. Evenly is a fine card, maybe even in the next format, maybe even fine against Snake Eye decks if you build your deck accordingly, but I don't think this is a cohesive strategy in the sense that, like, if you hand trap your opponent's Snake Eye deck and then they pass, your evenly banishes nothing. If evenly is your only non-engine into Fire King Snake Eye, that's also not gonna work because the deck isn't that weak to it. Evenly
So
isn't
what
for Snake Eye.
happened is-
Okay, even if it's not against Snake Eye though, the same applies usually to other decks. Certain cards are just not that good if you play hand traps in your deck. Cards like Dark Ruler, Evenly, Droplet, Lava Golem, Sphere Mode, those kind of heavy board breakers, you want your opponent to actually commit cards to the board, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to play a card like Evenly that takes a lot of cards away from your opponent's board and then play other cards in your deck to stop them from playing and putting cards onto the field. I like it more when you're playing a deck that plays more into this sort of like, I'm gonna let my opponent do their thing and then I'm gonna go ahead and evenly them, rather than I play 15 hand traps in the main deck and then I also side deck evenly. No matter which matchup you're talking. The same is true against Voiceless Voice, for example. Like against Voiceless Voice, if you want to side deck evenly, you can. You just need to pair it up with other board breakers to force the Omni Negate, and then you can evenly them. That might work. Like, if you hand trap Voiceless Voice, there's 2 options. Either they can still play and put up an Omni Negate for your evenly, or they can't play and then they don't have anything for you to evenly. So yeah, it's all about analyzing, is a card good in the format, but also is a card good in the strategy that I'm trying to imply for a certain matchup. Like, if my plan against Labyrinth involves siding out all my hand traps and siding in evenly, that might be okay, right? It's not only about, is this card good in this format, but also what does this card do in my specific deck? What do I want my deck to do? I don't think we should put as much emphasis on the side deck construction here. Like they were already saying, I think the main deck was more important than the side deck for them. I don't want to go through the exact combo lines for this deck. I understand what it does. It probably gets to that sort of end board with like a couple towers and an Omni Negate trap and the rank up spell with multiple different ways. We don't have to learn all the lines. We don't have to look at it in that much detail. I understand what it's trying to do. It looks like a solid deck, I will say. The concept behind it was sound. They were able to fit, I believe it was 40 cards, 15 hand traps, looked like sufficient starter cards to me. Oh, it was 44 cards even. Okay, slightly worse then, but okay. We have a couple of one-off engine requirements that I'm sure are not ideal to draw, otherwise we'd be playing multiple copies. The concept is fine, but the thing is, I think this just goes into a long line of fine quote-unquote rogue-ish decks, right? Whether you call this low tier 2 or high tier 3 or whatever, because there's just a lot of decks that do this sort of thing, right? There's a good amount of decks that are this deck, right? Like bunch of combo pieces, bunch of hand traps, you go. That's a lot of decks in the game. Beating Nibiru is an interesting quality, let's say, that not so many decks have. I believe it also seems good against Droll. It wasn't 0 searches. Like Roost was a searcher, Fuzzy is a searcher. Like there's like a couple searchers, but not all of them do. Like there's probably ways to play after. Going second is nearly impossible for the deck. Oh yeah, Nifska, I saw you play the deck. Yeah, I think the problem with going second for this deck, even if you hand trap your opponent, is the fact that it's mostly 2-card combos except for 1 or 2 exceptions, and that usually doesn't perform well into interruption, right? Because like if I commit 2 cards to force out 1 interruption, you're just not trading favorably at that point. In some ways, I would say it looks good. In other ways, it just doesn't look better than other decks that we already have. The way I would describe it at first impression is that if you really want to play Raidraptor, then now is maybe a good time for it, because it seems playable to me. So if you want to play Raidraptor, you can. But if you want to play competitively, right, if you want to play the best deck possible, then I don't think Raidraptor is that. I mean, obviously it's not the best deck, but even like alongside like tier 2 options, right, which is good. Considering it's Raidraptors out of all things, yeah, a good place for it to be, right? It's cheap. I don't know the exact prices for Raidraptor cards. I can imagine something went up that is like 10 years old because now Raidraptor got support. No idea. Don't quote me on it, but people in chat are saying it's budget right now. So Strangleanius went up to 12. Strangleanius has 1 printing from Phantom Rage and is a super rare that is now going for over 10 bucks. Yeah, true. That's unfortunate. Tribulanius goes from the past reprint. It's not cheap for a reprinted card, but it's not the end of the world, right? It's like $3-4 bucks. I mean, but still, what would you say without staples like you know, it doesn't play SP Little Knight and all that? Entire deck for less than 100 bucks? Yes, no? There was 1 thrust in this deck, but other than that, for max rarity Raidraptor, I paid 200. What the hell does max rarity Raidraptor mean? Like Secret Rare Force Tricks or something like that? Okay, yeah. If you go for those, it's a little bit more. Quarter century big guy. Okay, yeah. All right. So like the budget version of the deck, I'm pretty sure you can get for less than 100. Okay, interesting. Not too bad. I mean, honestly, for the fact that you are still just comparing hand traps with your Snake Eye opponent if you're playing a 15 hand trap deck yourself, it's not too bad of a deal. I'll say it like that. I don't think it's that good, but if you're playing a pure Snake Eye matchup that has 15 hand traps as well, you're basically just comparing hands. Their deck costs like $1,000 and yours costs 100, so you're up on that end. Okay, let me close all those Raidraptor tabs that I have open. It's a lot of tabs.